Hello and welcome to the Virtual Nature School. We're on session 5 of our inquiry around journeys. And today we're going to bring together all of those skills and knowledge and concepts that we've been looking at this week. We're going to think about journeys and directions. We're going to think about the beauty of the natural world that surrounds us when we go on our journeys. We're going to think about journeys into the past, where we can really understand how people use the sun and the stars to help them navigate. We might have made a little quill pen. Well, today, if you want to, there's a chance that you can make yourself a little tin can stove to take with you on your journey. So when you get to your destination, you can have yourself a little bit of a treat. You can maybe cook a marshmallow over a fire. Let's have a look at our film and find out how to do just that. Welcome to the 5th session of our inquiry all around going on a journey. We've had such an amazing time so far looking at the creation of maps, looking at globes, thinking at how we can navigate ourselves around, whether it's by the stars or by using a compass, and thinking about words like north, south, east and west. We're very good now at packing our rucksack. We understand that we need some water. We understand that it's good to have a nice healthy snack with us. And so today we've made our ancient maps, we've thought about making a quill, and now we're going to see if we can go off to find some treasure. When we looked at how we could change our paper, we were very clever in terms of thinking about whether we should scrumple it up, whether we should fold it, whether we should twist it, whether we should drop the T on it. So all of our experimentation has led to lots of different ideas just from having a go with coffee or tea and a lovely piece of paper. So these look like ancient maps. They look like ancient treasure maps. We've been thinking about things that we could write with, and we've been making our own pens using everything from the stems of a plant to a feather. We've been thinking about beautiful fountain pens or ink pens, and we've been making a whole variety of different inks, from using berries to using ground down chalk or charcoal. So we've become very skilled at making our beautiful ancient maps. Some of us have had a go at making a seal by melting that wax, and so we're ready to go on our adventure. So the question is, what are you going to find when you reach your destination? And if you remember when we talked about destination, that word means where you're going to go. Where is it that you might think you would like to arrive? Well, we know from making our maps that some people want to go to Antarctica. So we probably can't achieve that, but it's a wonderful dream to have, because when you look at Antarctica and you realise how cold it is and how much ice, you begin to understand how things become frozen and blue. Some of us wanted to go on a journey to a beach, to be able to put our feet in the water and feel the air in our hair. So we could go to the beach, if you like, on a bit of an adventure. Some of us chose the forest, to be able to go on a journey through the forest and sit by a tree for a while and take it easy. You might decide that your destination today is going to be going for a walk. It might be that you've got a nana and papa or a friend of the family that you would like to go and see, and maybe you can take them out for a walk and show them all the treasures of being outside in the natural world, from feeding wood pigeons to looking at beautiful flowers and trees. We've made our ancient maps and we've marked on the treasure point. We've marked on our journey past the castles, round the trees. So we've started to really think about how long it's going to take us to get to the treasure. Some of us have even explored the idea of burning our paper to make it look like it's been on an adventure all by itself. Now, one of the things we're going to need is to think about, what are you going to eat? And when you go out to eat in the world, you can find that you want to cook. But you can't take a big cooker out of your kitchen. So what you can do is think about how you could have a little tiny fire that would be just big enough for one person to use, to have a little bit of a treat when you're at the end of your destination, when you're in that place that you've been thinking about. So what you're going to need is to find a little tea light. And this little light is a safer kind of light because it has a metal case around it. It has some things that we need to talk about because they help us understand how it is that candles work. There are things that we need when we start working with fire, and the first thing we need to understand is that it's a hot thing, so we don't touch the flame. It's a beautiful thing to look at and it's fun to cook over it, but it's going to be hot. And the reason it's hot is that when you light it with an ignition source like a match or a lighter, what happens is that that little tiny piece of string, the wick, starts to burn. And when it burns, it starts to melt the wax because the wax is solid. It turns it into a liquid, like watery. And then it turns up that lovely wick. And at the end, when it actually starts to burn, it's a gas. Now, there are certain things that a fire needs if you're going to help it stay alight. It's called the fire triangle. So you need to have a lighter, you need to have some fuel like wax or wood, and you need to have some oxygen, some air, because without the air, the flame will just go out. And that's no good if we want to make a little treat. So if you decide you want to make our tin can stove, there are some things you need to find. You want something that can make a hole in your tin can. So you can either use a hammer and a nail, or you might have one of those tin openers that makes a cut in a tin can. You're going to need to find your silver foil from the kitchen, a little tea light and a tin can. And you want to take the label off the tin can because it's going to get pretty hot. Now, you have to always think about the edges. Think about those sharp edges when you start to use your tin can opener. Check that you've got one end of the tin that's actually been taken off, and that will reassure you that you're not using a full tin of beans or something like that. Now, remember that flame, that little candle, needs a gas. It needs something called oxygen. So you're going to need to make some holes around the tin. Quite a lot of holes because you need oxygen to go into your tin to help your candle burn. Here are some ideas. This is thanks to Campfire Kitchen, and one of the things that they've done, look, is they've turned their tin can upside down, so they've got a hard surface at the top, and they've even cooked a tiny pancake, all with the heat of a tea light. On another design, you can see they've made bigger triangle holes at the top and the bottom. That's to let the air in. And then they've made a little tiny door at the bottom. And that's so that if you're going to use things like wood, or if you want to slide your candle in, you've got an opening to do it. Remember, these edges can be sharp. So you might want to cover them with something, or you might want to use a glove when you're putting things in and out of your little stove. So now what I'm going to do is share with you from my garden a few ideas about how you can go about making a little pan to put on top of your tin can stove. So what I'm going to do now is show you how you can make a little tin to actually use on your tin can stove. So you've got your tin can, and what you need to get is your silver foil, and if you want to put a handle on your pan, you're going to need your stick. So you take off some of your silver foil and you fold it to make sure that it's nice and strong. So having it double strength is quite handy. Now I'm going to make it into a rectangle kind of shape because I want to be able to put a handle on it. If you don't want a handle, you can make it into a square shape. So you're going to put your little tin can on top of there, and then you're going to squeeze it all the way around. Now when you come to this long bit, that's the bit that's going to be your handle. So pop your stick in there and scrunch up your silver foil. Make it nice and tight. And then what you do is when you take it off your tin can, you're going to be left with a little tiny saucepan. So you can fold the edges in to make them doubly strong. Just fold those over a little bit. And then when we decide that we're going to go and do maybe a little bit of chocolate fondue, put a little bit of chocolate in there, light your candle, and you can make yourself a little chocolate fondue to dip your lovely apple in. So we like taking apple, and so we'll prepare our apple at home, and then we'll put it in a container, and then we'll carry it with us out on our journey. When you go out, remember, you're going to have your rucksack that you've packed yourself. You're going to have your map with you. You're going to have your nice water. And if it's a cold day where you are, you're going to need to put a waterproof on. So taking everything that you need, including your sun hat, is an important part of being on that journey. Don't forget to notice things along the way. Slow down and don't rush. Sometimes when you're on a journey, you're so keen to get to the end of the journey, you forget to actually enjoy every step of the way. So keep those eyes open and keep looking for the amazing things that are around you. You might decide that you're going to keep your tin can stove for another day. You might be able to teach your papa or people in your family how to make a tin can stove when you're on holiday. It might be that you have one in your back garden another day. But once you know how to make them, then it means it's another skill that you've got that you can use anytime when you're going outside. I'm really excited because today is the day of treasure. I'm sure you've got somebody with you who will help hide things around, and you'll be able to follow your maps to find that hidden treasure. I look forward to hearing about all of your adventures.
What a wonderful thought that you can take an old tin can with a little bit of imagination, with a candle and a bit of foil, you're going to be able to make yourself a picnic stove. So find an adult to do that with you, get all your things together and see if you can make your stove, pack your rucksack, take your map and go off to explore what's right on your doorstep. Enjoy being outside, everyone, and I look forward to seeing your images in our Facebook group a little bit later on.